Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jagjeet Singh. I'm from Gurdaspur, Punjab. Currently, I'm working in Chandigarh University in the Department of UITHM Airlines. I have been working here from last 3 years. About my qualification, I have done BSc from IHM Gurdaspur, MSc from PTU, and currently I'm pursuing my PhD from Chandigarh University in the Department of UITHM. About my experience, I have total 7-year experience. Introduction. Cabin crew member employed by airline to ensure the safety and comfort of the passenger on board commercial flight. The most important but least visible responsibility of cabin crew is that which concern the safety of passenger and the aircraft cabin. The first topic of the day of in-flight management. The code is AAB 315. First, let's have a look on the course objectives. The objective of this to make you study about this practical about this PPT is to give student a knowledge about cabin crew operation, how they do work, what's their jobs, responsibility, criteria, everything will be discussing in this topic. Let's start with the introduction part. This work is a study on a personal attribute required by a cabin crew to carry out their role and responsibility effectively. This gives us an idea about qualities of cabin crew for what an airline looking in a crew, service and role. As we have read this line, what we are getting from that, see, if you talk about we have so many airlines in domestic meaning in India only. We have many airlines. They have their different brand name, they portray different style of services. Fine. So according to that, they have their different kind of requirement. So we will be discussing about this topic only in that, as they have mentioned one word, requirement. Suppose I am giving you example. You have taken admission in this course. Fine, but for before taking admission in this course, you have to have your 10 plus 2 pass from any recognized university or board. Then only you are able to take admission in this course. Same if you talk about airlines, they do have set rules and regulation that is that has to be fulfilled. That's the norm of DGCA. So that have to follow by airline. No matter to portray themselves, they can choose any style, their uniform style. They can add on few more things, but the basic requirement will remain same. They will never compromise with the same, with the height, with the weight, because that is standard. Because if you talk about, if you read anywhere that airline is requiring to hire any female cabin crew with the height requirement is 5'2", and for boys is 5'7". There is some certain rules that's why they have given that particular date, age, weight means in BMI, because once you work inside the aircraft, the atmosphere changes, so it affects on your body. So it is very important to understand this thing. So let's come into the next part. Cabin crew, flight attendant or cabin crew, historically known as a stewards or stewardess or air hostess, are a member of air crew employed by airline to ensure the safety but also the comfort of passenger on commercial flights or in few private jets, as I have mentioned over here. So the cabin crew responsibility is to look after for safety. They have to do the safe flight demonstration to make you understand in during emergency what you need to do. Apart from that, they will be looking another part which will be your passenger care. Fine, they will look after you if you have any problem, you want to drink something. Fine, so they will provide you drinks, they will look after for your entertainment system. They have Inflight system, they have magazines. If you need some another attention, some people are not feeling well, so they might able to provide you first aid. So they are trained on in that view by keeping that things in their view. Okay, next we will be having The first flight attendant, a steward, was reportedly by a man in German Zeppelin. So the first person he was a male. He was not a female. So he was the first person who started his career as a cabin crew. The role of flight attendant is not restricted to customer service, although it is part of ensuring that passengers have a pleasant journey. Flight attendants are also trained to have a pivotal role of ensuring the safety and security regulations are followed, as well as being capable of administering first aid, of all which are above customer service. It is not mentioned that they have to look for service only. In case there is a medical emergency, some another emergency, so they will look after that. They will give the priority to those things. Fine. The primary and overriding responsibility of flight attendant is passenger safety. This is very sure. Fine. Airlines hire cabin crew not to serve people. People have a misconfusion about this thing, but let me tell you, it is absolutely wrong. They have to undergo a 3-week training. It depends on airline to airline. If you talk about international airline, it might be a 4-week training. If you talk about Singapore Airline, they have longest training session, which will be for 4 weeks. They'll train you for each and everything, so that if you see, they have the longest training record. Like they will train you for 4 weeks. Okay. After that, for planes with up to 19 passenger seats, no flight attendant is needed. Let me tell you guys, there is some certain rules. If that, as I've told you, in case there is a 19 passenger, you are not required a flight attendant, because that flight demonstration will be given by your pilot only while sitting their seat only, because the plane will be smaller. So of course, information about in case of emergency, how to do the things, it will be done by the pilot. Fine. So I just want to add one more thing over here. There is one place which we call it that's they have a shortest flights. Fine. Shortest flights to adjoin the cities. So in that, only on that aircraft only 4 members are allowed, but on that flight, pilots are allowed. Pilot will be giving the demonstration, like while sitting in the front seat only, he will say this is a safety card, how you need to do, because that is the standard, that's norm, that's very important. In case of emergency, you will able to know how to evacuate yourself. After that, we have for larger planes, 1 flight attendant per 50 passenger seat is needed. In case there is a 50 passengers, so we'll be needing 1 flight attendant. Fine. Or maybe 2, it's all depends. And again, if you talk about Indigo Airlines, they have Airbus, so they have 4 cabin crew. Fine, for their different doors. And if you talk about Vistara Airlines, they have full service airline, so they have 4 cabin crew plus one senior cabin crew, means total will be 5. And same with the different airlines, they have different requirement of cabin crew, but that's norm. Whenever you board a flight, you have to have that particular flight attendant on board, then only you will be able to take off, otherwise they will cancel your flight. Next, the responsibility of cabin crew is safety, first aid and service. Safety, as I've told you, they are hired for safety purpose only. That's absolutely right. People have an image, air hostess they just do, or cabin crew they just serve passenger with drinks and all, but that's not correct. That's absolutely wrong thing. It's not right. So what the people have done, so the main responsibility is safety, second is your first aid, and
each year, more than 180,000 flights take off for Emirates Airline, carrying about 60 million passengers. And the people in charge of all those travelers on board? The 21,000 flight attendants and pursers that make up Emirates cabin crew. It's a pretty sweet gig. Free housing in Dubai, discounted tickets, and getting paid to travel the world. But with long hours and busy schedules, the job is not always as glamorous as you'd think. Here's what it's like to be a flight attendant for Emirates.
My name is Siti Nurazlin and I am a first-class crew working for Emirates.
Like the 200,000 applicants a year, CT had to meet the airline's qualifications. A minimum age of 21 years old, a height of at least 5'2", an arm reach of about 7 feet on tiptoes to reach those overhead bins, fluency in English, at least a high school degree, and no visible tattoos when in uniform. Just like every other new hire, CT started her Emirates career at the bottom, in economy on short-haul flights. And through the years, she's worked her way up to first class. Today, she crews an average of 9 long-haul flights a month. Her schedule changes every week, but she's always on flights that last anywhere from 6 to 16 hours. And for a lot of that time, CT is on her feet. She estimates about 11 hours out of a 16-hour flight.
The job could be quite challenging physically, so we need to maintain our physique and also be quite fit.
But thankfully, she's not in heels the whole time.
We do change our uniform after takeoff, so we get to put on our flats because the high heels won't get really comfortable in 16 hours. And we change into our waistcoat.
CT is also required to look the part.
Usually we keep to a natural makeup, like eyeliner and mascara usually is a must. And the Emirates red lipstick, definitely.
And just like makeup, hairstyles, jewelry, and nails are also pretty strict. As for jewelry, they can wear diamond or pearl stud earrings, but no necklace. And their nails have to be clean, with either a nude or red polish or a French manicure. Now these requirements are for female flight attendants. Males have to be clean-shaven and style their hair with minimal product. But there's an added level of responsibility for first-class attendants like CT. For starters, she knows who the regular flyers are and what they like.
We do have information on our customers, so on every flight we will observe the preferences and the likes and dislikes of the customers, so we get to write it down for future flights. For example, like pajama size or their preferred drinks. So the more someone flies with Emirates, the more we can cater to their personal preference.
She's also required to have an expert understanding of the entire first-class menu. She knows options for passengers with dietary restrictions, the perfect wine pairing for dishes, and the tasting notes of 60 cheeses. And since she's typically serving international travelers, CT is a master at communicating across different backgrounds. But she's not the only one. Like most of the cabin crew, CT knows more than one language. For her, it's English and Malay. But there are over 60 languages spoken across Emirates cabin crew, and a staff of 140 nationalities. Now on board, CT's duties are pretty standard. Do a safety check of the plane before passengers board, provide food and drink service during the flight, and go through the cabin after everyone deboards. But off the plane, the perks of the job are substantial. Flight attendants get a base pay, depending on experience, with an hourly rate stacked on top. Starting out, that equals about $32,000 a year. Plus, they get free housing in Dubai, not far from the airport. They get 30 vacation days, 1 free flight a year, and can nominate friends and family for discounted tickets.
The perks of this job especially would be the concessionary tickets that we get, and not just for me but for my family and friends as well. So I don't really have to travel on my own or travel with just my crew friends. I can travel with my friends who are not flying as well.
For the veteran and first-class flight attendants, they even get to staff events like the US Open or make special appearances. But the best part? Layovers in 161 cities worldwide with accommodations and meals covered.
The best part of my job is traveling.
Tell you before the takeoff, and once you have takeoff, of course they will, once the service started, they will pilot will illuminate that light that now you are allowed to unfasten your seat belt. Fine. And from there, what you can do, you are allowed to move for washroom or here and there if you need to. Fine. And after that they will be starting your services. And same, before landing, what they need to do, they have to cross verify. They will collect the stuff from you. If you consume something, they will collect the trace. Fine. And when it is done, then only they will be going to land somewhere. Okay. After that we have aircraft first aid kit, which is known as FAC. For those who get their first FAC or aircraft first aid kit is engineered to help operate deal with medical emergency that commonly occur in the aviation environment. Sometimes people will they are flying, they fall sick due to anything because they haven't traveled. Fine. it can be anything. It is unexpected, it can happen anything. You might haven't heard about that thing you will see or face during the flight. If it is extreme emergency, in that case what we can do, of course we need to inform the same to our captain, so we can land a plane nearby the airport, so our passenger will be saved. And till the time you think so, you can provide them first aid kit. And before that you have to understand, see, we have announcement system over there in flight. You have to make an announcement for everything. In case there is an emergency and you think so, we should ask, because sometimes it will be your luck only, you can make a noise, make a announcement to ask if someone is a doctor over there on board, so he or she can assist you with the passenger, because they have their medical specialized degree. So this is advice for you, it should be done. You know, that's perfectly fine, but I believe you should know this thing. You can do this thing in future, you can do this thing in your regular life. And for first aid, if you talk about in India, we have read some companies or organization, I would say, they provide you first aid training, and once you are done with your training they will provide you certificate. And few airlines, they have their own setup, they have their own MBBS doctor, they will be providing services. Next we have service part, the direct assist passenger in event of emergency, such as directing passenger to evacuate as a plane following an emergency landing announcement. So we have to inform everything to our passenger, that's very important. We can't make them guess what's going around. If there is an emergency, you have to inform them, because they should be ready. Fine, we have a brace position for medical for landing, so we have to inform each and everything, maybe through by our captain, or maybe by yourself. And after that we'll be looking for your service part. You will be serving welcome drinks in the first class, fine, or in the business class, or in economic class. At last, what we people do, we just provide serve meals once we have taken off and seatbelt sign is off. So, and pilot has asked you to start the service, then only. And sometimes what happens, there might be some turbulence, you won't be able to make a service part. So to provide a service, you can use a trolley, fine, in that that is being packed by catering department, which depends on the airline to airline. If you want to know, I can name few airlines. Like for that we have TARSATs, which majorly cater these domestic and international airlines as per the menu, fine. So for that more information you can contact on that, I will be putting the link, so you can check it out the main menu, how they plan, fine. And even live chef, like this will be there. Next, talking about their qualities of cabin crew. Guys, one more thing, if you talk about LCC, means low cost carrier, they will sell stuff, or they will sell items or food items on board aircraft. In some of the airlines they will be free of cost or complimentary, you don't need to pay anything. But in some of the airline, they might ask you to pay. If you want to have cold drink, coffee, anything, they will ask you to pay, and you will have to pay. And that calculation will be done and collected by, and at the last, after the landing, you have to submit that money to the particular there is some section, we'll talk about this thing later on. Next we talk about qualities of cabin crew. Okay, so there is some certain qualities, that's why only you will be able to become a cabin crew. In a making decision about the employee of cabin crew, all airlines consider three elements. There is a basic three elements that they look forward while hiring any crew member, fine. So first will be your eligibility, means airline has eligibility about your qualification, it has to be 10 class 2 or maybe graduation. Your age is the main factor, I would say. Maybe in domestic you are allowed, if you are 18-year-old, you are allowed to work as a cabin crew in domestic airline. To fly in international, you must be 21, because you will be serving alcoholic beverage. So legally, if you see in the legally point of view, so you have to have that thing, legally 21-year-old, fine. And that's depend airline to airline. And in India we have certain criteria. If you talk about Air India Express, they have age criteria from 18 to 24 years. And of course, if you talk about in category wise, they do have different part, like for general categories, because it is owned by government airline, so they have there's schemes for the SC and ST people. So in that they have a relaxation. But if you talk about in private airline, there's no such thing. So they have certain criteria. If you are experienced, might they will hire you no matter if you are above age or you are married. And after that, we'll be having your specific requirement.
Damen und Herren, wir bitten Sie nun sicherzustellen, dass alle Ihre elektronischen Geräte, insbesondere Ihre Mobiltelefone, nun ausgeschaltet sind.
Ladies and gentlemen, as your safety is our utmost concern, we will now brief you on the safety features on board this Kingfisher Airlines Airbus aircraft. This is a seat belt. To fasten your seat belt, insert the metal tip into the buckle and tighten it by pulling the strap. To release, lift the flap and pull the ends apart. If there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen masks like this will deploy from the panel above you. Remain seated and pull the mask down sharply to start the oxygen flow. Place the mask over your nose and mouth and breathe normally. Make sure your own mask is placed correctly before assisting others. Our Kingfisher Airlines Airbus A330 is equipped with 8 emergency exits. There are 2 main doors at the rear of the aircraft, 2 emergency exits behind the wings, 2 main doors forward of the wings, and 2 main doors in the front of the aircraft. Each is equipped with an evacuation slide which inflates automatically when opened. The slides at each main door can be detached from the aircraft and used as rafts. Each exit is clearly marked with an exit sign. The escape path lighting system fitted on the floor will guide you to the nearest exit in case of an emergency. At this time, please note the emergency exit closest to you. Remember, your closest exit may be behind you. A life jacket is located in the armrest of your seat or in the pouch beneath your seat. In a water evacuation, slip it over your head and secure straps around your waist and tighten. At the exits, pull the red tag to inflate your life jacket. Should it fail to inflate, blow into the tube on the side. For more details, please refer to the safety instruction card located in the seat pocket in front of you. Kingfisher Airlines follows a non-smoking policy, and smoking on board this aircraft is strictly prohibited. The use of electronic equipment during takeoff and landing may interfere with the aircraft systems, and these must be turned off when the fasten seatbelt sign is on. The use of mobile phones is not permitted. Please now switch off all mobile phone communication devices till you have disembarked. We are pleased to present Air Premiere, the state-of-the-art Kingfisher Airlines in-flight entertainment system. Enjoy the latest Hollywood and Bollywood blockbusters, along with business programs, hit TV shows and entertaining games on this flight, as well as a moving map which shows you the aircraft altitude, position and airspeed at all times. As we prepare for takeoff, please ensure that your hand baggage is stored in the overhead bins or under the seat in front of you. Your seat belt is fastened, your tray table closed, your seat back is in the fully upright position, and the window shades are open. We will be dimming cabin lights for takeoff and landing. If you wish to read, you may switch on the reading light located above you. Thank you for flying with us today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Kingfisher experience.